Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome, all dear devotees, to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, right here in the Hive, in the live studios, southeast England, southeast England, near the English Channel. And I hope you all had a wonderful Gopiparanadhana festival that resulted in the heart being remembering constantly the lotus feet of Sri Gaura-Nitai. We listened for 6 hours to the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya yesterday on Gopiparanadhana, in the middle of this marathon that I'm doing to proof here and get this audiobook ready for release. Yes, we are all anxiously awaiting for that day. Anyway, I'm very happy to be back with you. I felt so much separation yesterday. My voice went completely off, but now it's back, and here we are. Srimad Bhagavatamrta Stotram, 5-verse stotra by Srila Sanatana Goswami, glorifying the Srimad Bhagavatam as beautifully as I've heard it glorified anywhere, actually. And it goes like this. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha, Sarva Vedaika Satpala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja, Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Srimad Bhagavata Prabho, Kalidwanduditaditya, Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya, Prema Varkshakshadayate, Sarvada Sarvasevyaya, Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin, Madguro Man Mahadana, Mannishtadaka Madbhagya, Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu saduta dayin, atini chochata kada, hanamun chakadachin mam, premna rit kandayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me, always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, we're in the 4th chapter of the 2nd part of Brhad Bhagavatamrta. And Gopakumar has reached, or is about to reach, Vaikuntha. He's sitting in the Gopur, the gateway to Vaikuntha, experiencing all these opulences by meeting various Vaikuntha Vasis, waiting for permission to enter. We're starting with text 52, chapter 4, part 2, Brhad Bhagavatamrta. When one sees those splendors of Vaikuntha, the happiness realized in Brahman at once seems empty, as if from sheer embarrassment on its own, it disappears. Commentary. After a purified Vaishnava has realized the glories of Vaikuntha and its inhabitants, the prospect of impersonal realization loses all attraction. It simply disappears like the stars at dawn. 53 and 54. From those who are self-satisfied, fulfilled in all desires, and free from material concerns, who have renounced everything they know and possess, who have associated with Vaishnavas and have thus acquired the power to discern between the essential and the non-essential. It is they who enter the path of devotional service. When I went to Vaikuntha, that is what I vividly saw. Commentary. Even though Gopakumar's student has been told that only direct perception can give him true understanding of the nature of Vaikuntha, he may still be anxious to have some other means to gain the special faith that the discipline of Bhakti Yoga demands. Anticipating this anxiety, Gopakumar here describes the logic by which one can know theoretically the super excellent happiness of Vaikuntha. Advanced mystics who have realized the supreme truth in its impersonal aspect sometimes abandon the happiness of Brahman for the opportunity to realize Vaikuntha. They leave aside both their knowledge and their perfectly developed realization to enter the path of devotional service. Once they experience the bliss of Vaikuntha life, they condemn what they formerly considered happiness in impersonal realization. This is evidence of the wonder of Vaikuntha. Text 55. As I watched those persons come and go, I thought, what kind of Lord must it be who has such servants? Commentary. After seeing such beautiful and opulent servants of Lord Narayana come and go through the gateway of Vaikuntha, Gopakumar could not help but imagine how beautiful and opulent must be Lord Narayana himself. Certainly, a proper master should be superior in all respects to his servants. Text 56 and 57. Thus I thrilled with delight as I waited in the gateway to Vaikuntha. I excitedly stood up and sat down, stood up and sat down, till the associates of the Lord returned, rushing back and escorted me inside. The amazing things I then saw, more wonderful than wonderful, even the 1,000-headed Anantashesha would be unable to describe, even in a lifetime of Brahma. Commentary. The escorts who had gone inside the city to announce Gopakumar's arrival now came running back, because their Lord did not want him to have to wait outside any longer. As soon as Gopakumar entered the actual realm of Vaikuntha, he saw more wonders than he could ever describe to a conditioned soul. His student would have to be satisfied with a brief outline of this experience. Text 58. I arrived at several more gates, one after another, and at each I was met by similar doorkeepers who allowed me to enter only after announcing my arrival to their immediate superiors. Text 59 and 60. As I entered each gate, I saw the guards offer obeisances to the local superintendent, so I assumed that he was the Lord of the universe. Overwhelmed with reverence, just as before, I repeatedly bowed down and recited prayers. Commentary. Lord Gopakumar was so eager to see the Lord that he mistook the Lord's glorious devotees for the Lord himself. As Gopakumar passed through each gateway with his escorts, they were met by the local manager, whose relatively greater opulence astonished him. He was becoming more and more eager to see Lord Narayana. Text 61. Finally, the Supreme Lord's compassionate men who were guiding me told me the special signs by which to recognize the Lord. They also taught me what prayers to recite and what etiquette to observe. Commentary. Gopakumar's escorts informed him of the unique visible signs of Lord Narayana, like the Srivats mark on his chest. Apart from these few special features, the Lord in Vaikuntha is indistinguishable from his devotees who show the perfection of Sarupya. Out of genuine sympathy for Gopakumar, his guides taught him how to behave in front of Lord Narayana, first to bow down and then stand some distance aside, palms joined, look down at the Lord's lotus feet, refrain from moving or displaying bodily transformations, and so on. Text 62 and 63. I passed rapidly through many districts, wonderfully splendid, with all kinds of houses and gates, and then I entered the most excellent, transcendental neighborhood. There I came to one palace, at whose feet many others stood in attendance, a palace distinct, overflowing in greatness, where excellence seemed to reach its highest limit. Radiant like millions of suns and moons, it captured my mind and my eyes. Commentary. Smaller palaces on all sides faced that grand one, like servants surrounding their master. That palace, diverse in effulgence, like millions of suns and moons, lured Gopakumar's eyes and mind into captivity, enslaving their functions in reverence to the Lord's opulence. 64 and 65. Within that palace, I saw before me, at a distance, the personality of Godhead, Lord of Vaikuntha. He sat at leisure on the best of royal thrones, a golden throne shimmering with the glow of many jewels. The cushion on which he sat was of swan white cotton, fine, attractive, spotlessly clean, and the soft, handsome bolster on which he leaned, his left elbow and upper arm, appeared like the full moon cleansed of its spots. He was the presiding Lord of blossoming youth. Commentary. Since the entrance hall of Lord Narayana's palace stretched a long way, Gopakumar's first glimpse of the Lord was from a distance, but there the Lord was, sitting happily right in front of him, on a throne with cushions white as a full moon washed of its spots. Although he is the original person, he seemed ageless, as if in the prime of youth. He displays his opulences however he chooses, and so forever displays a youthful beauty that is among the most attractive of his opulences. Text 66. The brilliant effulgence of his sweet, attractive limbs defeated the splendor of new rain clouds. That effulgence lent further grace to his garlands, cosmetics, and garments, already graced by jewelry made of gold, bedecked with gems. Commentary. Every part of Lord Narayana's body was beautifully formed, with youthful charm that enamored whoever saw him. On his head, neck, arms, chest, and ankles, he wore golden, gem-bedecked jewelry, which enhanced the beauty of his Vaijayanti flower garland, his yellow dress, and his sandalwood paste and other cosmetics. Text 67. His 4 shining arms, long and well built, enhanced the beauty of his bangles and armlets. 2 yellow silk garments dressed his body, and charming earrings set off his rounded cheeks. Commentary. Lord Narayana's arms seemed like the shining bodies of celestial serpents. His dhoti and upper cloth are yellow like the rays of the sun. Text 68. On his broad chest was a Kaustuba jewel. On his conch shell neck strung a string of pearls, and on his moon-like face a nectarian smile. His lotus eyes were alive with playful glances. Commentary. The moon is famous as the source of the heavenly Soma nectar, the rare sacrificial offering enjoyed by a few select demigods like Indra. Lord Narayana's face is another moon, and also full of nectar. The charming gestures of his lotus eyes are beyond compare. Text 69. The great compassion he felt made his beautiful eyebrows dance. Rama, his ideally matching consort, standing by his left side, reverently offered him excellent pan to chew, which he accepted. Commentary. The goddess of fortune would personally prepare Lord Narayana's betel nut and offer it to him with her own hand, pleased with her service and the excellent quality of the pan. Lord Narayana would gracefully accept it with the lip tips of his right thumb and first finger, place it in his mouth, and chew it contentedly. The goddess of fortune, Sri Rama, is the suitable consort for Lord Narayana because she is the best of all women. She equals him in beauty and other good qualities. We should understand that the Lord's other consort, Bhumi, was also serving him from his right side. Text 70. The color of that pan made his bimba fruit lips even more attractive, and their luster reflected on his teeth 2 rows of spotless kunda flowers. Illumined by the glow of those flowers, his playful smile shone splendidly. His amusing words and gestures stole away the hearts of his devotees. Commentary. The bimba is a bright red fruit whose brilliant color resembles that of the Supreme Lord's lips. The kunda flower is a small, pure white jasmine. Text 71. The goddess Dharani, holding in her hand a vessel to catch the remnants of betel nut, constantly worshipped the Lord with messages in sidelong glances, and the Lord's excellent weapons, like Sudarshan, served him in beautiful personified forms, their identities marked by symbols on their heads. Commentary. Dharani, or Bhumi, is the second goddess of fortune, whose expansion is the presiding deity of the earth. While Rama served Lord Narayana his pan, Dharani stood by to receive the remnants he would spit into a vessel meant for that purpose. Text 72. Servants stood all around him, worshipping him with great respect. Their appearance like his, their hands beautified by the transcendental items they held for his service, like slippers and yaktail fans. 73. Shesha, Garuda, Vishwakshena, and the other leaders of his many groups of attendants bowed down before him with devotion, stood before him with palms joined above their heads, and praised him in wonderful poetic language. Commentary. Along with Shesha, Garuda, and Vishwaksena, other main servants of Narayana were present, such as Nanda and Sunanda, Jai and Vijay, and Bala and Prabala. All of them together, Shesha and the others, are called the Ganadhyakshas, or leaders of the various groups of the Lord's servants. The 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 8:21, 16, and 17 confirms Nanda and Sunanda, Jai and Vijay, Bala and Prabala, Kamuda and Kumudaksha are all associates of Lord Vishnu, and so also are Vishwaksena, Patatriyat, Patarirat, Garuda, Jayanta, Shrutadev, Pushpadanta, and Satvata. Text 74. Sri Narada's dancing and his expert singing and veena playing created such clever entertainment that the Lord and his 2 consorts, Rama and Dharani, sometimes laughed out loud. Commentary. Lakshmi, or Rama, is also called Kamala, and Dharani is also called Dara. Text 75. To add to the special ecstasy of his devotees, whose hearts were fixed only on him, from time to time, the Lord extended both his lotus feet as a way of offering himself. In this way he exhibited his splendor. Commentary. In this verse, the word Atmana, of himself, can indicate either that he offered his devotees his feet or that he offered himself. Of course, the Lord cannot literally give his feet away, but his feet are the property of the Vaishnavas. This is described by Lord Brahma in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3:8-26. The Lord showed his lotus feet by raising them. His lotus feet are the source of all awards achieved by devotional service, free from material contamination. Such awards are for those who worship him in pure devotion. The splendor of the transcendental rays from his moon-like toenails and fingernails appeared like the petals of a lotus. For those who worship the Lord's lotus feet with the desire to obtain them as their own possession, and who follow the methods of pure devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting, the Lord kindly reveals his feet by raising them slightly. He takes the trouble to do this because he cannot help but think of how to benefit his devotees. Text 76. The fullness of the ecstasy this sight brought on made me forget what the attendants of the Lord had instructed me. I cried out again and again, "O Gopal, my life and soul," and I ran forward to embrace the Lord. Commentary. Having chanted the 10-syllable mantra of Lord Gopal for so long, Gopakumar was used to worshipping the Lord with natural spontaneity. And now he impulsively expressed his love in a way unusual for Vaikuntha. Forgetful of all ideas of awe and reverence, he ran forward with open arms to embrace the Lord. Text 77. Some discerning attendants who were standing at the Lord's side held me back, and I was broken-hearted. I cried out in helpless distress again and again, overcome by my own excessive love, and fell unconscious in front of the Lord. Text 78. With some effort, those attendants lifted me up, and after some time, I regained consciousness. I wiped away with my hands the flood of tears that blocked my sight, and with difficulty, I finally opened my eyes. Text 79. Then I heard the Lord, the best of merciful persons, tell me in a deep and gentle voice, please come back to your senses. Dear boy, come here quickly. Commentary. From the moment Gopakumar fell unconscious, Lord Narayana had been calling to him, but Gopakumar was able to hear him only after regaining consciousness. The Lord also told him, please give up this reverence for me. Let's talk together as friends. Text 80. I then felt the highest limit of joy. I danced all around as if seized by madness and stumbled about. But with great endeavor, the Lord's servants calmed me down, and at last I awakened from that trance. Commentary. Hearing those words from Lord Narayana drove Gopakumar apparently insane. In truth, however, this insanity was the perfection of clear consciousness, in which the one who suffers feels the ultimate extreme of happiness. Text 81. The Supreme Lord said, welcome, welcome, my dear boy. I am fortunate, most fortunate, to meet you here. For so long I have been eager to see you. Commentary. Hoping to calm Gopakumar, the most compassionate Lord greeted him as a welcome guest. The Lord stated honestly that he had been waiting a long time for Gopakumar to come to Vaikuntha. Text 82. My dear friend, you have passed many lifetimes without paying any attention to me at all. Text 83. For so long, hope had made me dancing like a fool, thinking perhaps in this lifetime, or this, or this, or this, he will finally turn his face toward me. Commentary. Even though Gopakumar had forgotten his Lord for many lifetimes, the Lord had never forgotten him. The Lord wanted Gopakumar to know this, and also to know how eager the Lord had always been to regain the association of his devotee. Text 84. But I could find no pretext on which to bring you to my abode, dear brother, and still follow the timeless laws that I myself have created. Commentary. Since the Supreme Lord is all-powerful, why didn't he simply find a way to bring Gopakumar to him sooner? The Lord establishes the laws of the universe, which are enunciated in the Vedas and other scriptures, and he chooses to adhere to his own restrictions. As long as living entities want to control and enjoy their own world, he does not interfere. Only when they show, by calling out his names, that they want to return to him, does he again reveal himself. In previous lives, Gopakumar had never chanted the names of Lord Narayana, or even unintentionally, or in jest. Had he at least vibrated a shadow of the Lord's name, he could have been delivered, like Ajamil. In any case, now Gopakumar is finally returning home. Text 85. Lord Narayan is continuing to speak. You showed me no mercy. As I considered this, I grew impatient, full of anxiety to receive your favor. So I transgressed my eternal code of conduct and arranged for you to take your current birth. Text 86. Dear boy, in that divine district of Govardhan, my most beloved abode, I myself became your guru, known by the name Jayanta. Commentary. The Lord does not interfere with the independence of the rebellious jivas. He mostly leaves the responsibility for reforming them to the Vedas and Vaishnavas. But ultimately, it is His mercy that saves the conditioned souls. The Supreme Lord interfered with Gopakumar's karma by making Gopakumar take birth at Govardhan Hill. In the words of Lord Brahma, anyone specifically favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead due to unalloyed surrender unto His service can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and understand Him. But those who are attached to the body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so. Srimad Bhagavatam 2:7-42. Only when the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, grants His unconditional kindness can one take wholehearted refuge of the Lord's devotional feet and cross beyond the ocean of illusion. Otherwise impossible to cross. In this verse, from the second canto, the verb atitaranti, they cross beyond, is followed by the word cha, and, which implies that besides liberation, the surrendered devotees of the Lord also achieve Sri Vaikuntha, an attainment that makes liberation seem unimportant. Thus, Vaikuntha can be attained by those whose self-identification resides not in the material body, fated to be eaten by dogs and jackals, but in the company of the Supreme Lord's dedicated servants. Text 87. Today you have at last fulfilled the desire I have harbored for so long. Please nourish your happiness and mine by staying here forever. Commentary. Here the Lord says in all humility, what good have I ever done for you? But you have done the greatest good for me by coming here. The Lord hopes that Gopakumar will forget the discontentment that has impelled him to wander from one place to another and will instead choose to remain in Vaikuntha. Text 88. Sri Gopakumar said, maddened by drinking the beverage of the Supreme Lord's words, so intoxicating, I was unable to offer Him praise or to understand or do anything. 89. Just in front of us appeared a number of flute players, dressed as cowherds like me. They very affectionately encouraged me, gained my trust, pulled me into their midst, and urged me to play my flute. Text 90. In various styles, I played this very dear flute of mine, born on Govardhan Hill, and in this way I satisfied the ocean of all skillful artists, the reservoir of all mercy, Sri Madhava, along with his associates. Commentary. Gopakumar refers to this flute because he is holding it in his hand even while instructing his student in Bhauma Vrindavan. This implies that his flute, born of bamboo on Govardhan Hill, is imperishable because the flute came from Govardhan, Gopakumar's home. It is very dear to him. His playing pleased the Supreme Lord, and as indicated by the name Sri Madhava, the husband of the goddess of fortune. When the Lord was pleased, Mother Lakshmi was also pleased. Though Lord Narayan is full in knowledge of all the fine arts, including flute playing, he is also the reservoir of all mercy. So rather than proudly refuse to be entertained just because he is God, he kindly showed satisfaction with Gopakumar's performance. Text 91. When the time came to stop, everyone, on the request of Lakshmi Devi, started to leave. But I didn't want to go. The devotees had to persuade me to let them escort me outside. Commentary. Sri Lakshmi Devi told the devotees to leave because it was time for Lord Narayana's lunch and for other important business. Only she remains with the Lord during his meals. Like every housewife, Lakshmi manages the household affairs, and Lakshmi displays her supreme opulences to provide the enjoyable comforts of Vaikuntha life for the pleasure of her husband. Text 92. Though like everyone else in Vaikuntha, I was approached by transcendental opulences, I avoided them. I refused to show even the splendors that spontaneously appeared within me. I resided there in the same form I had always had, that of a cowherd boy. Commentary. Simply because he was living in Vaikuntha, special powers appeared within him, but he avoided exploiting them or even letting others see them. Text 93. In Vaikuntha, all opulences are purely spiritual, full in eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Appearing whenever one desires, they willingly submit themselves to one's control. Commentary. The infinite varieties of the spiritual kingdom all share a common grounding in Satchidananda existence. But since the expression of opulence there depends on the desires of the individual residents, one encounters immeasurable variety. Personal powers there are purely spiritual, so the residents use them faultlessly, without these selfish manipulations employed to enjoy one's senses in the material world. Text 94. Thus, there is an opulence even in what seems like its absence. And when opulence is visible, the devotees still feel as if they possess nothing. That is the special nature of Vaikuntha. Commentary. Every Vaikunthavasi has access to personal control over infinite energies, whether he chooses to display them or not. Yet even when devotees in Vaikuntha use their ability to manifest wonderful things, they still feel meek and humble, because they are just like sparks of the Supreme, from whom the Satchidananda opulences of Vaikuntha all expand. The devotees in Vaikuntha are free from tendency to exploit other people and things for their own selfish interests. This is the nature of Vaikuntha. It is free from the constraints. It is free from the constraints, kunta, of material bondage. As already stated, in that divine realm, the all-pervasive spiritual nature coexists with the infinite variety of ways to serve the personality of Godhead. Text 95. In any case, by the strong influence of my previous practice, I continued to pay serious attention to my worship of the Supreme Lord, and always happily behaved like an insignificant person. Commentary. Although Gopakumar could have felt proud to know himself equal in quality with Lord Narayana, he preferred to retain the genuine advantage of remaining humble. He was convinced that his only real happiness lay in satisfying the Lord. From the beginning of his devotional practice, he had always been unpretentious. Now, even among the devotees of Vaikuntha, he had a special destiny, and so he had to follow his nature. Text 96. In my heart, I then concluded that by the great mercy of the Lord, I had now surely gained the ultimate fruit to be acquired from all my previous births, my prior births and endeavors. Commentary. Having described something of what had happened to him and what he had done in Vaikuntha, Gopakumar now hints at what had been going on in his mind. He had been thinking that he had attained the complete perfection of his life. 97. Oh, what unimaginable happiness! What an exalted abode! What a wonderful master! And how greatly wonderful his mercy! Commentary. Gopakumar uses the word idam, this, to express that he had perceived these wonders directly. But he does little bit more than show his astonishment, aho, because these glories of Vaikuntha cannot be compared with anything else. To persons who have yet to see them, very little can be said. These glories cannot even be imagined, so they surely cannot be described. Text 98. After some time, by the Lord's kindness, I obtained the intimate personal service of fanning him with a chamara, and I constantly felt the bliss of seeing the Lord as I played for him on my flute. Commentary. At first, Gopakumar could see Lord Narayana only in brief audiences. After this initial training, however, he was allowed a regular service at the Lord's side. He earned this privilege not by his own qualifications, but by the Lord's causeless mercy, kripaya. In addition, by virtue of being a naturally expert flute player, Gopakumar had the rare privilege of entertaining Lord Narayana. And that stops us at 8 o'clock exactly. Hare Krishna. The opulences of Vaikuntha. So, if anyone can still talk after that, or type, we'd be interested in hearing your reflections and comments and discussions. Hare Krishna.
This is from Gopiparanadhana Devi Dasa.
Hare Krishna Gopakanya.
Jai Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Happy
Hare
to
Krishna.
have you back. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Rati Manjari said, Jai Guru Maharaj.
Jai Rati Manjari Devi Dasi. Hare Krishna.
Sri-goloka-mähätmya said, Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for today's reading. Happy Guru Punim.
Jai Haribol.
The meeting of Lord Narayan and Gopakumar is one of my favorite parts in Brhad Bhagavatamrta. All the time it is so amazing and very encouraging for me to hear that the Lord never forgets us, even we do so, and is really waiting for us to come back, so much so that he can even break his own rules to help us.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful reflection. Thank you. Yes, and it's rare to hear in a scripture, an actual conversation, a personal conversation, in which Lord Narayana expresses his love and his affection for his devotees, and how he feels without them. Because he's the perfection of everything. He's the supreme of everything. So thank you for that reflection.
Gopi Chandra said Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Gopi Chandra.
Vrajaloka said after, so amazing to hear about the emotions of the Lord.
Who said?
Vrajaloka.
Yes. And we're amazed because, we were raised in cultures where there's some concept of God, but the concept is kind of generic. You hear about God, and God is great, depending on what your religion you are. God is great, God is all merciful. But when you ask them any details whatsoever, they have no idea. Nothing. So therefore these scriptures reign supreme, literally reign supreme over any other knowledge, any other taste. So it's our duty, by the grace of Gaura Hari, by the grace of Gaura Hari, it's our duty to try to find those who have any inclination, any curiosity to know about who they are, what their destiny is, where they came from, what to speak of who is God, and tell them. But I thought one of the most interesting things was, and we already spoke about it before, but all these wonders are happening to Gopakumar, and we're thinking, oh, how could that possibly happen? This must just be a story. But then when you find out that his Guru Maharaj was actually Vishnu himself, personally, then you can understand. He can do anything. And that faith is required, according to Jiva Goswami, to be able to actually comprehend anything about God and about Krishna. Then you must have full faith in his inconceivable energies. And his most inconceivable energy was hinted at by Brajaloka, and that is his affection that he has for his devotees. Even though he doesn't need anything or anyone. He has everything except for the love of a few of us who have decided to come to this material world. Everything is on a different dimension. We're so constrained and so debilitated by the material energy. We can't even conceive of these things. Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, can you say a bit more about saying that the Lord was in anxiety, and then we were saying about when this lifetime are you going to be back, and then this lifetime?
Yeah, he was hoping maybe this lifetime, maybe that lifetime. Well, you have to understand that one lifetime of earth is not even a blink of an eye for him. Mm. That's what that means. That's what one lifetime, no, maybe this life, no, maybe this life, maybe this life. Because they're going by that fast to his perception. Because his time, he's timeless. One of his expansions, Mahavishnu, just breathes out, and the whole cosmic manifestation happens and then is retracted in 311 trillion, 80 billion years. And we can't even imagine this. And that's just one breath for Mahavishnu. What to speak of Vaikuntanath, or Lord Narayana? What to speak of Krishna? Because Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. And therefore you can see a part of the affection that Krishna has for Gopakumar. And we'll see in our next session, we'll see how that manifests. I won't tell you because it'll spoil the fun. Hare Krishna.
from Ratimanjari. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Today we heard a lot about the genuine advantage of humility and the freedom it gives.
Absolutely. Without genuine humility, there is no freedom. Because in the material world, we're always bound up, shackled by lust and greed and avarice and madness and all these anger and all these impious, horrible emotions and experiences. And they're called kripana. Kripana means crippled. The word kripa, crippled, it's the same root, actually. Brahmana and kripana. One with broad heart and one with small heart. The more conditioned we are by material nature and the less we know about the things we're hearing about now, the more we become small-minded and selfish and impulsively try to exploit the material nature and everyone else, no matter how much they seem to be loved ones or family members. It's all about exploitation. And ultimately it's all about sex. It's the culture of sex. You have the children with sex, and the children grow up, and then we want to see them happy, so they have sex, and they have grandchildren, and then we enjoy the grandchildren. It's all a culture of sex. That's all it is, in a nutshell. So if you become free from sex desire, you're, as Prabhupada said, you're 75% of the way there. That's the main thing that keeps us trapped in this small, insignificant universe with small, insignificant desires. Hare Krishna.
Ratimanjari added, it was interesting and refreshing to hear that even in the midst of all the opulence of Vaikuntha and the fact that the inhabitants of unlimited energies at their command, they all feel so humble and will not misuse it, like the demigods sometimes do.
Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely right. Therefore, we'll hear in the next chapter, in chapter 5, how Dainya, which is the ultimate evolution of humility, manifests itself and is the same, is considered to be the same as prema, or pure love.
That's it.
Okay, I thank you very much for your attentiveness, and I can tell you're being attentive by your sensitive reflections and comments. I thank you very much. Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktavinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. See you tomorrow night, for sure. Same time, same place, same topic. Hare Krishna. The Bhagavatam is the cream of the Vedas. Brhad Bhagavatamrta is the cream of the Bhagavatam. The Chaitanya Charitamrita is the cream of all of it, the topping. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow.